Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Shu Wei, you start. I just want to
Yeah.
explain about the 5 questions. The five
Okay.
questions that you are required to do homework. Now, those of you who have completed and sent to me, I've read it. Now, let me explain the purpose. Basically, it's a challenge for you to reflect. Actually, I'm trying to write it down so that I make you all reflect about what you have and what you can give. Now, few things very important for very important. You can't give something you don't have. If you don't know you have it, you also cannot give it. Okay? Because you don't know you have something, you won't be able to identify the something that you have. Then how can you give the something you cannot identify? So to me, it's a waste if you don't identify what you have. Because giving is very crucial. Always remember, giving increases your value, your real value. Real value is only achieved through giving. Potential value is obtained through receiving. You receive, you only increase your potential value. I think last week I explained it before about the $50 in the tin can you bury under the ground. The old lady buried in the ground. The $50 buried in the ground, if it's not used, is only a piece of paper. It has zero real value. Nobody can benefit from it. Okay? Now, this is what happened if people have value inside, yet you don't know what it is, or even if you know what it is, you don't use it. You don't give it away. It's only when you learn to give, the value increase, because through experience, the value of what you can do with it increase. And then you can give more, and then it increase. Then you make impact more. That's why it goes to the question 5. Question 5, the impact that you make is to help you reflect about the value you are able to create from knowing what you have and knowing how to give it away well. So you need to identify what you have, and then you need to know how to give it away well. And then when you reflect on the impact of your giving away, you begin to realize, wow, suddenly my value multiplies into other people's life. And that's what you want to do. This is what life legacy is all about. You leave behind, when we die, we leave behind the impact we have made in other people's life, and other people will continue the productivity from it. Okay? The last thing we want is to bury all that we have been given with us when we die, making no impact. Okay? That's why very important for us to reflect. We have to think very carefully. And this is a question. These are 5 questions you have to keep thinking as a leader. Okay, so that we are able to identify more and more of what we are given and what we can give and how we can give it well and how it makes the impact on other people's life, so that making the most of the opportunity that we have while we are still alive, right? We keep multiplying the impact until we die and we leave behind the impact. Okay? And that is the value of a leader. Okay? So please continue to reflect upon those questions. If you have not already done so, please continue to do so. It's not the 5 questions that you do one time and then forget. It's 5 questions that you keep doing regularly. Okay? Okay. Shu Wei, now we go to question 5.
Yeah. So today we start with question 5. And the question 5 is, how does one change one's heart to increase the desire to to add value and serve others. Hold on, I need to go. Hold on, my keys is here. I'm sorry. Okay. So this question 5. So I believe that most of us are working adults, even you are still students. I believe that you have your past job experience during your part-time jobs. So I'm sure that you have come across with different kinds of leaders and with different leading styles. But then one thing that we know is that if you are working with great leaders, with a good leaders, we will all tend to be more happy and more productive, and most likely you are more willingly to contribute more in the companies. And the question here is that what a leader can do in order to influence their followers to do better in terms of adding value and serve other people better. So based on the past experience of John C. Maxwell, after he had a very bad experience with one of his favorite staff, he is actually blamed on the trust issue between them because he is being too open to him. So that is why he chose a different leadership approach after the incidents. This round he is not letting anyone to get close to him. Basically, it is about you do your jobs and I will do my jobs. So with only giving the expectations to his staff, he realized one thing, that is he don't feel any hurt. But the thing is that he also find out that his staff do not contribute much as well. Then he only made another realization that this approach cannot be worked at all because the staff wouldn't go for extra mile if the leader doesn't care about them. So at the age of 25, he is finally to make a decision to treat staff with an open heart and try to love them unconditionally. So even sometimes it had caused some hurts in them. Caused some hurt in John C. Maxwell. But he was also able to see that with this leadership approach, it does create some greatest joy as well. So what is the conclusion here? That is, you must decide to love people and be authentic and vulnerable with your staff. If you want them to add value to you, at first, you got to let them uh, get into your life, and because that's the one of the way for you to add value to them. So based on my research, I did some other research as well, and I find a number of strategies that is quite good, and I wanted to bring up here and discuss. So this is regarding how are we as a leader to connect to our people in a better way, which is something that can relate to these questions. So here are a few of the strategies. The first is engage in honest and open communications. All of us know that by displaying an active communication skills and transparency can build trust among the team and improve the overall morale. And the next is connect with your team members. To me, we all as humans are meant to be connected, but not isolated. So by connecting in the group, we know one another better, and it's indirectly building a trust among the team members. So with the trust between the leader and the team members, it will move the overall company performance to the next level. And the third is encourage personal and professional growth. Um, this is exactly the result of the if a leader is practicing the culture of loving one another. So by showing the love to your employee, to your staff, it will actually encourage your employees to go further, to go farther. So it's good for us to really practicing this one. So the next one is teach employees instead of giving orders. If you as an employee who has an experience to work with leader who are only giving giving you order instead of support. I think this is something that you can relate to. Because if a leader is trying to controlling you to do certain things in a certain way, you can actually see your growth is stagnant and is not growing at all. So it's good for a leader to learn how to help their employees instead of giving order. And the next strategy is set clear employee goals and expectations. So as what we discussed just now, by showing love and cares is really important in leading a team. But a leader do not forget to set a goal and expectations of the company for them to follow, because it is good if if it is good if it both work in both way. So the next is be open to new ideas. Your employee will tend to be more committed to their works if they are allowed to voice out their insights and point of view. So it's simply because they will feel that their idea is being valued and they have something to contribute to the company's overall performance. So basically, this is all the strategies that for a leader to use if you want to open up your heart and you want to tap closer to with your employees. So basically, this is all about questions 5. I'm not sure whether Edmund, you want to add something in these questions.
No. Can proceed to
So I
question 6.
proceed with the question 6. So question 6 is, if I am reaching goals and achieving success, why should I take care of developing myself as a leader? So why a good leader constantly improve their skills and always gather new knowledge from here and there? It is because they are aware of growth is something that is inevitable in our life. During that young age, it might not be seem so obvious because um, it, there's nothing changed much. But then in the long term, you will see the difference, just like what Edmund has shared just now. So growth will create a gap between a leader that grow intentionally and those leaders who are not. So even you are not the leader at this moment, it's really good for us to cultivate the habits of daily learning. We must always grow into our tomorrow, but not only for today. So this is what Charles Windor says. A piano sits in a room, gathering dust. It is full of music of the master. But in order for such strings to flow from it, fingers must strike the key. Trained fingers representing endless hours of disciplined dedications. You do not have to practice. The piano neither require it nor demand it. If, however, you want to draw a beautiful music from the piano, that discipline is required. So always get yourself to be prepared before the opportunity comes, or else it will be too late to prepare when it arrives. So growth is not something that will exist naturally. It is only what comes with an intentional learning. So how are you going to plan for your growth? What does it require? So this is a few steps for us to follow. First step is set aside time to grow, and you got to determine which area you want to grow, and find the resources in the area you want to grow. And after you uh, learn all these theoretical things, you have to learn how to apply in your daily life. So this is all about question 6. Edmonds, you want to add?
I want to ask one question here that is related to question 6.
Yeah.
Which is more valuable to you? What you have or what you are? Which
What
is
you
more
are.
valuable to you? What you have or who you are?
To me is who I am.
This is very important. Very important question. But to be honest, if you go out into the working world, a lot of people are pursuing what to have. They are not pursuing who they are. Sometimes they will do whatever they can to get what they want, right? In order to have what they want. Sometimes a lot of them, they're willing to lose who they are to get what they want. Am I right to say that? Think about it out there in the world. That's why I ask this question, very important. The world out there very often function with a different priority, with a different value system. The world out there seems to function in a way that tells us that having something, gaining something, is more important than keeping to who you are. I mean, think about it. A lot of times, didn't people compromise their values and belief, comply to people's demand very often against what they want, in order to get certain things? So, am I not right to say very often people sacrifice who they are to get what they want? When they sacrifice who they are to get what they want, right? What they have then, what they want to have, is more important than who they are. That's why I asked you the question. This is a very important question. And I want you to keep this in mind. What you have or what you want to have and who you are, which is more valuable to you? The world may pressure you to sacrifice who you are. Now, then, second thing, for those of you who answer, some of you already straight away answer who I am or what I am. Now, if who I am and what I am is more important than what I have, then let me ask you the question. Because you must be able to answer the question in order to stay strong. My question is why? Why is who you are more valuable than what you have?
Because there's something that is something that I am capable in doing. That's my calling.
Okay. Others? Not very convincing yet, but okay. Others, come, try. Find a convincing answer. What I have can be taken. Very good. What I am cannot. Very good, CK. Very convincing. What I have can be taken. What I am cannot be. Okay, Matthew, say what? Who I am is not affected by circumstances. Depends on how strong your who you are is. If your who you are is not very strong, then it will be affected by circumstances. Okay? Anybody else want to try to answer the question? Come. Try to answer the question. Why is who I am more valuable, more important than what I have? CK1 not bad. CK's answer pretty good. I give you a hint. And see if you get there. Stephen Covey says what? Stephen Covey, habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Who I am cannot be changed over time, but what I have will change over time. Not quite true. I can change who I am over time. Why cannot? What I have also will change over time. Who I am also can change over time. What? Judgment time, judge who I am, not what I have. Good, CK. Very good. Why is who I am more important than what I have? Very simple. When I die, who I am will follow me. What I have will not follow me. At the end, my value after I die is going to be measured by who I am, not what I have. Right? If you think about it. So, in other words, if you think about long term, don't think short term. Don't think only in terms of life on earth. Think in terms of life after earth. What goes after life on earth? Who I am will keep going. It will go with me to wherever I'm going after this life. But what I have do not go with me after this life. Who I am will determine my value after this life. What I have do not. Okay? Now, any question, any comment? Otherwise, I pass the time back to Shi Wei. CK came up with a Chinese saying. Chinese saying what? You cannot bring money go down or go up. Yeah. But of course, some Chinese believe they can burn money and then burn money up or down. Okay, anyway. Okay. Shi Wei, back to you.
Yeah, let's proceed with question 7. Question 7 is, how do you lead with humility when in the tough corporate world it viewed as a weakness? A lot of time, people always have misconceptions in seeing humility as a weakness. But what surprised us is that humility in leaderships are often lead to a higher rate of employee engagement, more job satisfactions, and lower rates of turnover. So from here you can see that humility doesn't weak at all, but instead it plays an important part in the leaderships. Based on what Rick Warren said, the true humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. So they are simply a leader who are more humble and have a better grasp on organization needs, and they are also better in asking for help from their employees if compared to a pride leaders. There is a difference between the pride and the humility leaders. So the pride leaders are often discount team building, but the humility one encourage team buildings. The pride make us unteachable, but the humility value teachability. The pride close our mind to feedback, but humility, I welcome for the feedback. Pride prevent us from admitting mistake, but humility allow us to face our mistake. And the pride distort our perceptions of reality, and the humility enable us to face reality. The pride prompt poor character choices. Humility promotes character building. And the last is the pride limits our potential, but the humility enlarges our potential. So if you are leading a team now, if you are a leader, I hope that you'll be wise enough to choose to be a humility leader instead of a pride leaders, because that is how you gain your respect from your followers. So basically, this is all about question 7. So,
Okay.
Mr. Edmund.
Okay, I just want to try to share a perspective for you. Now, there are two level of strength and weakness. inner or outer. Inner strength, outer strength, inner weakness, outer weakness. And interestingly enough, it functions opposite. When a person has inner strength, then outside I don't need to show my strength. But the world will see it as a weakness. That's why when you have inner self-control, outside I won't simply punch people because I'm self-control. When I'm inside weak, outside I will act violent. This is how the world, the inner world, the inner and the outer function. Okay, humility is an inner strength, but the world looking only at the outer expression see it as a weakness, because outer humility, people who are humble, they don't fight for. So that's why the world see, wow, the guy don't fight for it. Why is the guy so weak? Right? Because they don't express it out. That's why this is very important. Usually people who act violently outside merely display an inner weakness. That's why very important for us to begin to understand. People who are strong inside are very calm outside. Don't have to act violent outside. Don't have to show that they are strong outside. Okay? Yeah, this is where it comes in. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Shu Wei?
Yeah. So questions number 8. Questions number 8 is, how transparent should a leader be? Is it okay for the team to know of personal challenges such as cancer? Usually in this society, job security and career advancement opportunities are often the main reasons for employees to stay in an organization. But things slowly change. Based on today's workplace, we also find that the employee also want to be part of a workplace culture that puts a premium on delivering the truth. They desire their leaders to be proactive in sharing where the company is headed and forthright about its future. For what I've been sharing just now is only transparency on the things that is related to work. But what about a leader's personal challenges? It is something that is a must to share. So of course there are a few things that for a leader that need to look into. For an example, if something that you want to share is related to your family members whose privacy that needs to be protected, then you need to honor that. You shouldn't share all those things to other people. But then what if the things that you are going to share can be used as a tools to connect with your people and to encourage them? Then it is a good way for you to be transparent. And there's also in another circumstances, if the purpose of sharing is just to hope that people will pick you up, then this is obviously not a good reasons to share. So I believe most of the employees wanted to know more about their leaders. Even I myself are really curious about Mrs. Edmonds as well. Um, so I'm sometimes I'm really curious about that, and then curious about how Mr. Edmonds have been going through in their life and how is he overcome their personal hardships. And I'm really glad that in this digital world, it actually allowed us to learn more about the people that we wanted to learn and we wanted to know. So with the help of social media, it given us the permissions to enter into our leaders' personal space, and it does create a level of transparency as well. And of course, there are some other ways, such as to have more personal engagements with their employees through face-to-face or via video interactions instead of just writing in an email. And yeah, that's because we can access through the face-to-face meeting. or video interactions, we can assess the people that we interact with is either they are acting or being genuine. This is not only to build trust, but also to establish a loyalty and an attitude that will ripple throughout the organizations. So what are the other benefits that you may get if a leader is transparent? Okay, the first is the problems are solved faster, and then team are rebuilt easier, relationships grow authentically, people begins to promote trust in their leaders, and higher levels of performance emerge. So this is about questions 8, about the transparencies in the leaderships. Edmund, do you want to add something?
Yeah. In today's world, we are overemphasizing transparency, yet we don't know when to appropriately use transparency, because we overemphasize. Because we have seen a lot of people who have acted badly or wrongly and has kept certain things secret. Now, when people has kept things a secret, human beings tend to swing to the other extreme and say, okay, now cannot. Now everybody must be transparent. Transparency do not define a leader. What defines a leader is effectiveness, effective influence. Transparency, whether a person is transparent or not, does not define a leader. A leader can be transparent, or a leader can also not be transparent. It does not. That means if a leader is not transparent, doesn't mean he's not a leader. Why? Because leader is defined by effective influence. So if leader is defined by effective influence, being transparent is only one of the things we do. So the question we must ask is, does being transparent help us to become effective leader? If it does, then we must be transparent. If it doesn't, then withhold transparency. Okay? You see what I'm trying to say? Because the main definition of leader is not transparency. The main definition of leader is effective influence.
But in your opinion, Mr. Edmonds, what do you think that what can be shared and what cannot be shared?
To me, very simple. I have to look at overall. If overall the impact is positive, share. Now, of course, there are a lot of other issues, because you shouldn't be sharing. What is transparency is personal. Transparency is not, I'm transparent about other people's secrets. No, that's not transparency. That's gossip. Transparency is always personal. Transparent is what belongs to me, what happens to me, I open it up. What is mine to open? What is not mine to open and you open it, that's not called transparent. That's called gossip. Does that make sense? However, there are some situations that involves me and other people. I can still be transparent. I can say I and someone else. I did not reveal to someone else. I reveal I. You see what I'm saying? So again, when do I become transparent? I have to ask the question, does it help? Does it help me to become more effective in making a better impact? If it does, I should. Now again, about me. Only about me. Everybody have only permission to review what is mine to review. What is other people's, I do not have permission because it does not belong to me. Other people's information is other people's. That's not for me to review. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But
what if in a certain company, right? Because these questions transparency makes me to recall back my past experience when I work in E&O property. So I recall that there's one incident, right? There's one time certain informations can only be shared in a certain departments. So it actually another department cannot is not allowed to know all this inside informations. So it actually it would create a hatred among the departments, the people among between these two departments. The other department might not like the other department because that they always have more information than the other departments. What do you think, Edmund?
I think it's the culture is the root cause, not the transparency. The two leaders is the root cause, not the transparency issue. You see, transparency is a part of the culture, and culture is created by the leaders. If the leader behave in certain ways, set the certain example, it become a culture. Okay? Yeah. And of course, once the culture is like that, and then you break the culture, then you have to rebuild culture. Who rebuilds? The leaders. But if this is a culture rebuilt by leader, then if the culture is not very healthy, then it will limit the dynamics, the teamwork, the synergy between members. Then it will limit the effectiveness of the company. To me, it's like that only. But anyway, the issue is not, you see, that's why transparency is not the holy grail. Transparency is not the ultimate goal of anything. In other words, the most important thing in life is not transparency. The most important thing in life is effectiveness. Transparency is only one of the elements of life. Okay? And all elements of life supposed to support, to enhance the purpose. Right? You don't put a secondary element of life and make it the most important thing in life. The primary thing in life is always the primary thing in life. That is effectiveness. Okay? And transparency is only a contributing factor. What? Think about it. Is any organization, the main goal is transparency? No. No. Transparency cannot achieve anything. The main goal of any organization and every organization is the mission. But transparency can enhance or hinder the mission. So our goal is to use transparency as a contributing factor to enhancing the fulfillment of the mission. Same thing with personal life. Your personal goal, your personal mission in life. Right? Why must I be totally 100% transparent? People don't know if I don't tell. Right? But of course, if people ask, and I know now it's going to create doubt if I don't answer. Yes, I will answer. I will have no hesitation answer because I want to remove the doubt. Doubt does not enhance the relationship and does not enhance the teamwork or the synergy. So I'll be transparent. But however, if there's no issue with the teamwork, why do I need to bring out a problem and say, oh, I want to transparent first? If it's not going to be a main it's not going to contribute anything to the conversation, why I want to waste time talking about? Right? There are a lot of things in my life I don't tell you all. But you also don't know how to ask me. Right? So, do I bring out my transparent of some of the issues that you all don't know about just because I want to be transparent? No. No. It has no contributing factor to helping you. So what for? But however, if the topic of the study leads to certain things that I have experienced, then I can use it and I can become transparent, and I'll take my personal experience, negative personal experience, and I'll take it out and become transparent to you to help you all to learn from my mistakes. Right? So my transparency now have a purpose. That is to effectively help you all understand, to effectively teach. Does that help?
Yep.
Others? Any question about transparency? Okay. 9.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
finish the
Question
class.
number 9. No, there's one more questions.
9.
So
Only 2 more.
yeah. So questions number 9. The leadership process is a long journey, lasting a lifetime. How can I overcome the loneliness I sometimes feel? So all of us know that not everyone are willing to become a leaders. You and I are very clear that all of the leaders have certain weights to carry under their shoulder. So they are the people who have to go first among the team. They are also the people who need to find the solutions for the problems that they have encountered. So when come to these situations, people are often to have a misconceptions between aloneness and loneliness. So what is aloneness? Aloneness is a time where we so-called me time. During this me time, you can use this time to think, to create, to strategize, and even hear from God. Usually, this is a time for us to think and reflect. A lot of leaders, just like John C. Maxwell, they often get a lot of new ideas during their me time. So then, what about loneliness? Loneliness can be defined as an unpleasant emotional response to perceived isolations. They're simply being apart from others, and it can be felt still lonely even you are surrounded by other people. So what makes a leader feel so lonely? As we mentioned just now, they are the one who are responsible in solving problems and making tough decisions alone. They are the one who can sense the feeling of loneliness where only a few of us ever experience. So, and with an unmanageable loneliness can actually negatively affect their performance and effectiveness. So how are we going to deal with it if we caught ourselves lonely? So based on John C. Maxwell has shared, he would turn to his mom every time he caught himself lonely. Then later, after his mom is passed away, he talked with the people in his inner circle. There are other than reaching out to the people that you are close with. There are some other way to help you to cope with the feeling of loneliness. The first is dismantle silos. Silo create isolations, so it's good to eliminate as many isolating structure as possible and bring the teams and workers at all levels together to collaborate and socialize. And the second one is foster a culture of trust and transparency. It is very common for a leader for not sharing the important information to their teams. It often because of lack of trust. And without this transparency often lead to isolations. It's good to change the environment by showing you are dependable, you are transparent with what you know, and trusting and trustworthy. And the third one is read out. It's always good if you spend time on reading whenever you are alone. So this is a great way to connect with shared experience and learn coping strategy and the best practices. And the last one is work to understand. It's good for you to understand the essence of loneliness, and it can help you to accept and cope with the reality better. You just have to acknowledge that you are lonely and don't ever try to escape. Remember that the only way out is through. So this is about how you deal with your loneliness in these questions number 9. Edmund?
One thing very important to always understand, as you rise in leadership, you become more and more alone. Fact of life. It's like moving up a triangle. As you move up the triangle to the peak of the triangle, okay, the size, the how to say, the two sides become more and more narrow. There'll be less and less people who knows how to who how to say, who understand you. As you move up in leadership, there will be less and less people who understand you. There'll be less and less people who will be able to talk to you or discuss things with you, because your level of thinking and your level of responsibility keep moving up. It's a fact of life. If you did not grow in your ability to handle loneliness, then it will affect your ability to grow in leadership. If you do not grow in your ability to handle loneliness, it will affect your ability to grow in leadership. This is very important. You must. Okay? In other words, you must be able to appreciate aloneness, and you will eventually be less lonely. You appreciate more alone. And or with the less lonely, you also will know how to find the right peers who you can turn to during your loneliness. Because if you go to the wrong person to express your loneliness, these people may jeopardize your leadership effectiveness. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's why a lot of people, leaders, great leaders, sometimes it's their loneliness that leads them into trouble. And then the trouble jeopardizes the downfall or creates a downfall of their leadership. So one of the things we have to do as we grow in leadership is grow within ourselves, our ability within ourselves to learn to be alone and learn how to handle our loneliness. It's a fact of life. Okay? One of the things you have to begin to do if you really aspire to grow in leadership, learn to have alone time, the reflection time. Develop your reflection time, alone time, and come to the point where you can enjoy it. Okay? Yeah.
So we proceed to question number 10. So question number 10 is, how can leaders develop the ability to filter their emotions to make good leadership decisions? First of all, what does the emotions mean here? The emotions can be anxiety, irritations, worry, stress, frustrations, or anger. All leaders should know that emotions play an important role in an organization. Just like a leader can make good decisions, but the leaders is at their emotional low point. So everything may seem so difficult to them. The reason why is a leader are unlikely to exhibit the attitude of positive on those downtime. So the mouth, I'm sorry. So yeah, just like I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, everything may seem so difficult to them. So it's because of that the mountains around them, it looks so huge, and you cannot tell how high they are and how far you are from being able to reach a goal. So it's always good for a leader to make a decisions when their emotions are at well conditions. At those times, you will be like at top of the mountains. You can see almost everything. You can tell how deep the valley is and how high you are. At the same time, you can also survey the other mountains, both large and small around you. But sometimes the leader may not be so lucky to have time to readjust their emotions before they make a decisions. But do not worry because there's always a lot of way out there. Here are some suggestions from John C. Maxwell to actually help you to make a better decisions during your downtime. So the first is do your homework. The key here is the facts and the information that you gather. A leader may need to spend some time on finding those credible sources in order to help them to make a better decisions. It is because with the solid information, it can help them to fight through emotions. And the second one is list your options and where they could lead. The leader also may get a few options first before they jump into the final decisions. In each options, the leader may think further on all the possibilities that may turn out. So by knowing all the possibility, the leader are able to make a better decisions. And the third one is seek advice from the right people. You may consult these two group of people, during your decisions making process. And the first group is people who are involved in the decision making. And the second group is the people who have past successful experience in those areas. And you may also listen to your instincts. Weston's H. Ego says, intuitions is what we know for sure without knowing for certain. People might have misinterpreted it as an act of impulsive, but in reality, they are making quick decisions based on their lifetime of accumulated wisdoms and understanding that their mind is processing. So there are a few questions for you to ask yourself whether it is wise to listen to your intuitions. And the first is, am I an intuitive leader? Are my hunches usually right? Do I know a lot about the area in which I am making a decisions? And do I have a lot of successful experience in this area? And the last one is, am I gifted in this area? And the next one you can do is that make decisions based on principle and values you believe in. I personally liked what Abraham Lincoln has shared. He shares that I desire to conduct the affair of these administrations in such a way that if at the end, when I come to lay down the reins of powers, I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall have at least one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. It's very important for a leader to cultivate the habits of being right. The being right here means a decision that is take everyone into considerations and reject all the unrighteous decisions and choices, even they might look quite tempting. So a wise leader will always seek for the next right move and make decisions according to the right principle. So this is all about question 10. Edmund?
This question 10 is very important for us to understand ourselves in context of our personality style that affects our decision making. Those of you who have gone through DISC, you will know the D, the I, the S, the C, and how each one have their emotional response. Okay. The D will be a bit too quick. D is very quick. DI is very quick. SC is very slow in decision making. Okay, DI tend to be impulsive, but the D tend to be the D tend to be a bit more intuitive. The I tend to be very careless. The S tend to not want to make decision, scared of making decision. The C tend to be very slow and want all the information before they make decision. So you will notice that each one will have their own inclination, emotional inclination in making decision. This is where you must begin to recognize and understand yourself thoroughly. There's no one answer. That means, in other words, one person's way of making decision may not be suitable for another person. Okay, so for those people who are DI, okay, you need to listen a bit more. You need to get more information from other people. Okay, the people who are SC, okay, you need to be more decisive and be more bold in making the decision. You have to overcome the fear, filter out the fear. Okay, so this is where understanding yourself is very crucial. Okay, very crucial. Okay.
Yeah, that's all for tonight.
Okay, any comment from anybody? Any comment, any input?
Anyone has questions? So next week will be Mabel. Thank you, Mabel.
Yeah, next week is so fast.
Finally, my one done. Thank you, Jin Lee.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we will call it the night.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, and stay safe, everybody. Keep in touch. Keep connected. Stay connected.
Okay, good night.
Yeah,
Okay.
good night. See you next week.
See you all.
Bye.
Bye.